Grainmaker. Welcome, everyone, to the Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast, a Prairie Proud wrestling podcast covering everything from Winnipeg to worldwide. My name is Blair Pacheco, and look, I'm going to be honest, we're going to kick things off. We're going to talk a little bit about basketball because it's a big game tonight. Game 6, Knicks and Spurs.
Game 5.
Game 5 tonight, Knicks and Spurs, and it's in San Antonio. I'm going to be hoping on for a big Knicks victory because I've bought in. I am part of the team now. And my guest this week is a big Knicks fan, and I'm very stoked to have her on the podcast. She's actually absolutely been crushing it this past weekend, wrestling at Pandemonium Pro Wrestling, being a part of their show. We're going to talk about that and so much more. Joining me on the podcast, MJ Santana. MJ, how's it going?
I'm doing great. I'm doing as great as I can be after my team made the most historic comeback in NBA Finals history. Just saying. But yes.
No, I have to ask because I know, a few months back I had Tim Bosby on the podcast. He mentioned he's a big Knicks fan, and he said, he talks about like when he was describing his, fandom, he's like, we picked up a big victory. Like he's part of the team. And
yes.
Someone was like, you're part of the team. He's like, of course I am. Are you the same way? You're like, we picked up a big victory.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I do speak in wheeze, but it's funny you mentioned Bosby because we literally called him right after the game and we were like we just have to talk to Bosby, and he answered the phone, and you could tell that he was like holding back tears. Like it was like because I think after that first game in MSG, I was just like, oh my God, no, like the Knicks are going to choke and we're going to lose this series, Like it was just like devastating. And then for that game 2 in MSG to happen, I was like, it's alive. We're getting the chip.
And by halftime, you're thinking like, oh, it's over. Like we got to start.
Oh yeah. I was like, it's so Dover. It's Dover. But what a comeback. Comeback. I can't get over it. And I'm so excited for the game today. I hope that they win on the road in San Antonio, because that would be kind of poetic for them to win on the road. Like, I feel like they're a very, I don't know. I feel like that's part of the reason why they had such a weird game 1 in MSG. I feel like they're used to winning on the road. They won the conference finals here in Cleveland on the road. So
yeah. I'm old, so I remember like the mid 90s when, they had to battle Reggie Miller and the Pacers in the playoffs, and Miller just had their number. And I felt so bad because the team was so good. And like, I'm a kid. I'm like, well, why can't John Starks get a victory here? So I'm like happy that they're finally over that hump and so close to winning a championship.
Yeah, it's great.
So, I mentioned off the top, last weekend being a part of the Pandemonium Pro Wrestling show. And you were part of a very fun matchup. It was yourself versus Charity King, Ella Envy, and Naomi King. 4 completely different wrestlers, different styles, but you all brought something unique to the match. And I was wondering, how you were feeling coming out of that match.
Well, I was definitely disappointed. I think I've made it pretty clear that I'm really gunning to get a championship in the next year that I'm wrestling. I have never won a belt before, and I know there are so many people in wrestling that are like, it's just gonna happen when it happens, blah blah blah. But I'm trying to make it happen, actively campaigning. If I had a big campaign banner, it would say MJ for championship, MJ for belt. I want it so bad. So wrestling for the new Texas championship and then losing was definitely disappointing. But I feel like I have struggled in multi-man matches, and that match, I felt like I didn't struggle as hard. I felt like I had a better chance than I usually do, because my style leans more towards singles matches. It's easier for me to do my shooter style in a singles match versus a multi-man. But I feel like I was able to hold my own a little bit in that match a little bit better. So I've been working on the multi-mans. I have another multi-man coming up tomorrow, so we'll see.
There was the one spot where I think you got Naomi King. You had her in the full Nelson right into a German suplex. And I'm watching, I was like, oh shit, all right.
Yeah, I actually got that from Shimbashi. He did that for the first time unsanctioned, and then I was just like, write that down. I'm taking that.
Yeah.
I love that because it's you have them completely trapped, and then you just pop them up into the German. It's great.
Yeah, and like visually as a fan, you're watching this and it's like, okay, that looks really cool, and like, so to see it actually happen, I'm like, hell yeah, okay, I'm into this. So
Yay, well, I'm glad.
now I want to ask, like, where did the love for professional wrestling first start? Like, what got you into it?
So I was into professional wrestling when I was a kid. I think I started watching when I had already moved away from Connecticut. So my whole family is from Connecticut, and then my parents and I, we moved to Texas when I was 3. So I would go back for the summers, and I would stay at my grandma's house, and my grandma was a huge WWE fan, like genuinely huge. And she would have it on, and then she would kind of fall asleep. And so I would just be like me at age like 6 to 9, just like watching WWE by myself and freaking out over things by myself in like the glow of the TV light. And it's like 10 p.m. at night and I should be in bed. Yeah. But regardless, I absolutely fell in love with like Randy Orton. I absolutely fell in love with AJ Lee. And I was hooked on Monday Night Raw. I was never able to watch any of the pay-per-views until I got older. So I would always just have to find out like what happened at Raw. Mm-hmm. And it was always so like, I was like, man, I wish I could have watched WrestleMania, but it's okay. Now I can watch it now with my own money and my own job.
I love that like grandparents are such a focal part of people's like wrestling fandom, because it was the same for me. I'd go stay at my grandparents' house for a week in the summertime, and we would just watch like old VHS tapes, and like my grandma had seen it like hundreds of times before, but she's still just as invested if it was like the first time she'd ever seen it. Yeah.
I think like kids and old people, I don't know. It's just something about wrestling that kids and old people love.
So, I mean, did you ever check out of wrestling, or did you stay a fan? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when I got into like middle school, I kind of dropped off of wrestling for a while. I got super into like, I don't know, like pop sensations. I was a regular like teen girl. Like I got super into like regular teen girly girl things. Right. And then, I got more into folk style wrestling, like collegiate style wrestling, when I was in high school. And that's kind of when my wrestling world like opened back up again. So I started wrestling, like actually like competitive wrestling, when I was a junior in high school, and I did it for 2 years. And it was just like, I had wished I'd been doing it my whole life. Like I was so happy that wrestling existed, because I felt like I was not very good at like ball sports. Like I did basketball for a second. I'm way too short to ever do anything with basketball. And like I did soccer for a while, but I just felt like I didn't have like the coordination to really do anything. But what I did have was like aggression, and I had like weird arm strength. So wrestling worked out pretty well for me. And then I get into college, and I had continued wrestling like here and there. I got a few tournaments, but when I met Shimbashi is when my love for pro wrestling like got reignited, because like I think Shimbashi's one of those people where he doesn't ever have like a fall off. Like he's loved wrestling since he like birth, and he will love wrestling till he dies. Like he will never stop loving wrestling. So when we met in college, it was a great opportunity for him to be able to be like, oh, you've never seen WrestleMania 2011? Like, we're going to go watch it right now, So it definitely got me back into it. And then he started training to be a pro wrestler, and then I started training to be a pro wrestler. So.
Now, I want to ask about the collegiate wrestling, the high school wrestling. What was that like? Because I mean, you hear the stories; it can be a very competitive atmosphere. And was that the same for yourself? It's college wrestling isn't as big up here in Canada as it is down in the States, I think.
Yeah, so it was very competitive, and like cutting weight is always tough, and it can lead to like a lot of weird like things or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But I think it was cool at the time that I did it, because I was part of the first full women's roster at my school. Like we had never had a full women's team until I joined. So to be part of that like first wave of women doing wrestling, and then seeing now that like they've continued on and have been able to fill out their roster every year, that was super cool.
Mhm.
So I was really excited to be a part of something that kind of like helped girls see that they could do wrestling too.
Yeah.
So that was great. But I will say it was tough. Like it was tough because there just wasn't a lot of like infrastructure for women's wrestling. You know what I'm saying? So we'd go to these tournaments and they'd be like, hey, we don't have enough people to have a varsity and a JV. So your team is just going to have to figure out who to put up, you know, like you can't have more than one person.
Yeah.
So it would lead to a lot of like wrestle offs. It would lead to a lot of like tension within the team, because if you go to a tournament where you have, you know, 2 or 3 girls that are in the same weight class, but the tournament's only accepting one, like that's, you can only put out one.
Yeah.
So it just kind of sucks, because there were definitely times where I think it was hard for me coming in as a junior. And I'm not trying, I'm it's going to sound bad, but I never had to sit out of a tournament, but I came in as a junior. So that caused some issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be people who feel that they deserve that spot.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
you're coming in being like, well, we're going to wrestle, and whoever wins, that's how we're going to do it. So
yeah. So I understand where they're coming from. And I think, you know, being years removed from it, like definitely, yeah, I understand where they're coming from. But at the time I was just like, well, I beat you, so who cares, you know?
Yeah. And that's the thing, because like even when you watch sports, it's like you can see, you know, a team be like, oh, well, you know, they deserve to win. And it's like, well, they may deserve to win, but they didn't win. And that's the problem, you know? So
Yeah.
it's a very fine line, but it's like, well, this is how it is. So
yeah.
So, I mean, I'm guessing Shimbashi was like a big proponent of you getting involved with professional wrestling.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So what were the steps like for you deciding like, okay, well, this is something that I actually want to try out. I want to make the steps and become a professional wrestler.
I think it was watching him go through it, and then being so close to him and seeing like, not like firsthand, but being that like close secondhand experience. I was like, this seems really cool. Like he would call me every day after practice and he would say, we learned this, and that today. And I'm like, wow. And you didn't die? Like, that's awesome. You know? So I just kept seeing how possible it was for him. And that kind of made me feel like it was possible for me too. And I remember going to his first show and just being like, I'm so jealous. Like, I'm so jelly. I'm hate watching, because I just want to do this too. Like, get me in the ring. So it was difficult trying to like convince my parents to be chill with it. It was difficult trying to figure out how to balance like getting an engineering degree and then also wanting to be a pro wrestler. Like that was definitely tough. But me and Shimbashi like working together in that way made it so much easier, because we were both doing it and we were supporting each other through it. So it just made it like, I definitely would not be a professional wrestler if it weren't for Shimbashi.
Oh, wow. So, I mean, heading into it, you've decided, you know, you're going to start training. You know, how are you feeling heading into that for the first time? Like, obviously you're excited because you see, you've seen firsthand what it all entails with the grand scheme of professional wrestling, but like the stepping into a training center for the first time can be a little daunting. So how are you feeling getting in there?
It was, I didn't feel like too nervous, only because there were so many familiar faces that I had already seen at like the shows and everything. So I started wrestling in College Station. I was living in Dallas at the time, so I would drive to practice. I would drive to training on Wednesday nights, and I would try and like make my class schedule to where I had all of my classes like Monday through Wednesday. And then I would drive to College Station Wednesday. I would wrestle Wednesday, Thursday. And then I would come back again during the weekend and do it all again. But going in there the first time, I wasn't too nervous, but I was definitely weary about getting hurt. So I think that kind of like breaking that shell of like the fear of getting hurt in the ring was most of the first like few weeks of me being there. Like I really had to just like, because yes, I had wrestled in high school, but there's so much control when you're wrestling somebody else like that, where you're always staying connected. Like you're really just going from standing to laying down. Like you're not jumping off of anything. You're not in the air for any reason. And I think that going from a really grounded experience, like not fighting, like wrestling somebody else, to feeling like you are fighting somebody else and you are like doing these death defying things, it is scary for the first time, but after a while you kind of get used to it, and after you take like a few bumps you're like, oh, that's not that bad.
Yeah, I guess it really lays into the whole like trust dynamic with wrestling, because when you're college wrestling, like, yeah, you're connected almost at all times, but professional wrestling, like, yeah, you go off that top rope, you're hoping that person is going to be where they need to be so that everyone gets out of there safe and sound.
Yeah, it definitely, I think the first time that I tried to do like a crossbody, I like jumped, but then I could not trust myself to stay like horizontal. So I ended up just like jumping straight to my feet. And my trainer, he was like, okay, so you didn't do it. You're gonna have to do it again. Like, get back up there. But I think the trainers and the other wrestlers specifically at the time, they were so like, they just wanted to see another female wrestler come out of their school so bad. So they were all like very welcoming, very like patient with me. They were like, we're going to do this until you get it right. And I don't want you to look dumb or anything. So we're just going to keep doing this until you get it right. And I'm so thankful that they did.
Oh, definitely. They're putting, they want to make sure that you're set up for as much success as you can, and I think that's a very incredible thing, because they don't want you to go out there and, for you not to enjoy it, for you to fall flat, because like, then what do we do it, So,
I know. Yeah.
So how long were you training before you had your first match?
I was only training for I started training in, I think it was like the summer, and then I debuted in the winter. So maybe like 8 or 9 months.
Okay.
So really not a lot of training before starting to go and actually put my wrestling out there, because they needed female wrestlers so badly. And I felt like I didn't feel any sort of way about it. Like if I were to go back, I'd probably do it the same way, only because I felt like they were giving me like so much of that special like attention. Like they were saying, we are really needing female wrestlers. We're going to make sure that you're ready as soon as possible. And I did feel more ready, but sometimes I wish maybe I had trained a little bit longer. But I think the best training is doing. So going out there and actually doing shows has been the best experience for me. So it all worked out.
Have you noticed like an increase since you kind of started with, more women getting into wrestling and going to training? Yeah. Okay. Because
definitely. I think just the school I was at, we've had double the amount of girls, and nice. 2 times 2 is still 4. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It's still way less than the amount of guys that come into wrestling, but it has, even though it's still like much less than men, it's doubling, it's increasing like exponentially. And I'm so excited to see where it leads, because by the time I moved from Texas, there were already like 2 or 3 all women's promotions, and they were running, semi often. So it's like, I can't wait to get to the point where we have women's promotions that are running weekly or even like monthly. Like that would be amazing for women's wrestling, I think. And it's just going to get better. The more everyone does it, the more we accept it, the more we go to the shows that are all women, like it's just going to get better and better. And I'm so excited.
Yeah, I saw that you had worked on some of the Metroplex all women shows, and
So I've never been on the MPX all women
okay,
shows. I've
okay, I
been
thought
on their like weekly shows,
okay,
but that is one of the shows I want to be on. I did Mission Pro, which was an all women's
okay,
promotion, yeah, in
yeah,
San Antonio.
okay. But even the fact that you're part of that, and it's all women on there, they're getting the opportunity to show what they can do because they can hang just as well as the men can. So why not give them the opportunity? So I think that's an incredible thing. And I want to ask, what that was like for you being a part of that, because you've seen, even from college wrestling, being a part of the first like all women sort of team and going on and doing that. So what was that like for you?
It was amazing. I love all women shows. Like the Mission Pro environment was so friendly and just like accepting, and you didn't have to worry about anything. Not saying that like at pro wrestling shows I'm like constantly looking over my shoulder or anything. Like it's not like that.
No.
But at women's shows specifically, like it's just there's a different vibe when you're surrounded by women. I feel like it's a lot more like jovial. Like you can kind of just like just be like, la, 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 like, I'm just going through my life. Like, it's great. Like, I love that feeling, So when I would go to Mission Pro and we could all just kind of be like, we're going to go get in our gear and we're going to put our match together. Like, it's just so, like, nice and friendly and just, like, chill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually at Mission Pro when I tore my ACL. I tore my ACL getting out of the ring at Mission Pro, and I look back on it and I was so happy that I was at an all women's promotion that night, because the way that they just like came around me, and I was never alone in the locker room after that. Like they would help me go to the bathroom. They would help me like get to my car. Like it was so much support. And I'm not saying that that wouldn't have happened if I were at any other promotion. I'm just saying I was just very thankful to be around all women at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's sort of one of those things where like, you're not saying it wouldn't happen elsewhere, but it did happen here. So that's
yeah.
Yeah. So
exactly.
I have to ask, first match, it kind of jumped ahead a little bit, but who was your first match with and how are you feeling? How did that go for you?
So my first match was with Mia Friday at Lions Pride Sports, and that was such an experience. I think it's cool with Mia because Mia's younger than me, but she was my vet. So like we're putting this match together and she's just like, don't worry, like everything's gonna be okay. And like she's literally 16 at the time, and I'm just like, okay, girl, But I loved wrestling Mia. She is just such a fun person to be in the ring with because her character and her overall vibe is so like fun and bubbly, and just like we're gonna hit each other and then we're gonna go like yay, like it's just so like cutesy, and I loved it. And I ended up winning, which was great because I don't win a lot now. So looking back on my first match, having won my first match, I'm like, at least I have that one, But I have nothing but good memories about my first match. It was a short one. It was a short one. It was like maybe 5 minutes.
Hey, 5 minutes is still 5 minutes. So, yeah. For yourself, I mean, I feel like Shimbashi has been played a big impact in your wrestling career, but who have been some of your bigger inspirations so far?
So before I started training to be a pro wrestler, I was super into Randy Orton and I was super into AJ Lee. Like AJ Lee was like she was my wrestling goddess. I love her so much. But as I started training, I got way more into Candice LeRae, like her indie run. I just loved the way she wrestled dudes. Like she was Miss Intergender and I loved it. And I loved wrestling dudes at Lions Pride. So when I started wrestling the guys, I would watch her matches a lot and kind of study the way she was. And then now I'm really looking into Jonathan Gresham. I really love Jonathan Gresham. Like he's who I'm like after this podcast, like I'm probably going to put on Jonathan Gresham match.
Now, this is going to lead me to ask, because we saw Gresham, work a death match the other day. Is that?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh,
Was it good?
He was pretty solid for his first one. I
Oh
was
man.
impressed.
Oh, death matches scare me so bad. Like, can I just be so honest right now?
Yes.
I am not a deathmatch girly. I don't know if I will. I don't know if I'll ever do a death match. Only because it just scares me so much. Like, I'm just like, no, your face, your pretty face, don't do that.
I didn't expect to see Gresham in one, and then you did. I see it, and I'm like, okay, he held his own in there. Like,
oh my gosh, I have to watch it. Okay, so now I'm gonna get specific. After this podcast, I will be watching the Jonathan Gresham death match.
Well, I want to ask because I mean, you've wrestled a little bit for New Texas Pro. And I mean, you've wrestled on their main shows, and then even some of the Contender series as well.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
So what was that like for you starting off doing those Contender shows and like building your way up to getting onto the main shows there?
I was always just thankful that I was on the Contender shows. Like I don't think when I first started wrestling, before I tore my ACL, I was never really forward thinking. I would never think like, oh, I need to do this so that I can get on these shows and like blah, blah, blah. I was always just kind of like, oh, this person wants me on their show. Like, yay, I'm just going to go wrestle and blah, blah, blah. And now I kind of understand like I really need to like, be pushing or whatever. But I think at the time I was just like, oh, I have, me versus Misty Marks on Contenders. Like, that's going to be cool. That's going to be fun. And then I never really saw it as too much of an avenue to get onto New Texas because I think I was just in the state of mind of like, if they want me on New Texas, like the main roster, they'll put me there. Yep. And whatever happens, happens. And now I'm there and I love it. And, Biss and I are like besties. Kiefer and I are like besties. So it's great.
I love what they've done with their promotion. I think they've easily become one of the top ones, especially in the southern states. And like they keep putting on these incredible shows, and there's so many talented wrestlers there. Like as a fan, that's what you want to see with independent wrestling.
Yeah. The New Texas shows, they are always that's definitely one of the shows where I'm always trying to figure out how can I watch the show from backstage. Like it's just that good. And you want to see it live too. They're not shows that you really like want to miss just because the moments in each one of the matches are so jaw-dropping. Like Dimitri got waterboarded last show. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like it's just like always some crazy foolishness happening at New Texas that you just have to see live.
Now I have to ask because I was, doing some research on you, and then I see a match and you wrestled for JCW.
Yes.
Now I have to ask because like I find the whole like dynamic of juggalos to be very enthralling, and I'm wondering what it was like being a part of that show and wrestling in front of some of them.
Oh my gosh, it was such a like, I don't know if culture shock is the right word, but it was like just so like awesome is the only word I can think of, because you go backstage and it's just like everyone that you've kind of been watching online and you're just like, oh my god, like like you're just looking around and you're just like, I can't believe that I'm here, like this is so crazy. Because like Jocelyn had texted me and she was just like, hey, we're going to Juggalo, like get in the fucking car, basically. Like it was like that quick of a thing. And we get there, we put our stuff down, we walk around the venue, and I just remember like walking around the venue like 4 times. We were wrestling at Kemba Live in Columbus, and I just was just walking around the ring and seeing the JCW letters, and I was just like, this is so cool. And then actually wrestling in the ring with the crowd with the JCW canvas, like it was just a great experience, and I'm so lucky to be able to have wrestled for them.
I watched their like WrestleMania weekend show, and I've been hooked ever since. Like I can't not watch it now. Like
yeah, they're great, and their shows are so fun. Like they have the best segments as well. I feel like
they do a great job of mixing in, like the backstage stuff, in-ring stuff. There's so many talented wrestlers there as well. So like I've recommended it to so many people that people are looking at me like, why do you love this so much? Like, you just have to watch it.
You have to watch it. You have to see what all the hype is about. And it does live up to the hype. They are very entertaining. and they have a lot of good promos too. Like their promos are really nice. I like their whole production, whole thing, top to bottom.
I want to ask, I ask everybody, but what are some memorable matches that you've been a part of that, like, you know, maybe hold a special place to you, whether it's matches or moments that you've been a part of?
There was, I think my number one, like, I look back on this match so fondly is Shimbashi and I, it was maybe our first or second match at Lions Pride. It was, I don't remember the date and I don't remember the show, but we were wrestling for his belt at the time. And we were part of this like blow off storyline where it was like me versus him for weeks or whatever. And I think just the moment in the match where he was on his knees and he was like begging me not to kick him. And then I hit him with the super, and like the crowd reaction and like backstage reaction, like everyone just being together in shock in that moment and being in the ring and being like, oh, we fucking got him. Like it was just like a great feeling. And then being with Shimbashi, like on top of it all, was just one of my most memorable moments.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I mentioned before, a new segment on the show, 5 random questions.
Yes.
Just very out there. Like there's no rhyme or reason to these questions. There's only one repeat question from before.
Okay.
So I'll ask you these. Okay. First question. What was the first CD you ever bought?
Oh my gosh. It has to be a Demi Lovato album.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not too familiar with Demi Lovato. I think I'm more into the Ariana Grande, so sort of.
Yeah, you know what? I love her too. I'm sick that I don't have tickets to her new tour. Like, absolutely, just gutted.
All right. Would you rather be able to fly or breathe underwater?
Ooh, probably fly so that I wouldn't have to pay as much for travel.
Yeah. It would make life so much easier. You're not sitting next to people. You can just go.
Oh yeah. I mean, you have to worry about like birds and bugs and stuff, but like that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll do it. We'll get a windshield.
Just a visor in the air.
Yeah.
Now I'm asking this not knowing if you're even a fan or if you've watched it, but who are the best and worst characters from the Twilight franchise?
Oh, I'm a Twihard. Like,
okay.
First of all, love Twilight. Best character, it's so hard because they're all so insane. I'd probably have to just go Charlie, Bella's dad.
Okay.
He is the most sane one, I fear. And then the worst character. Oh, it's such a hard choice. I'd probably have to go. I think if you were to ask me when I was a kid, I'd probably say like the Volturi, like in general. But if you were to ask me now, I'd have to say Jacob or Edward, because if you look at their actions now, they are clinically insane. Like they should be locked up in a prison for life.
It's funny how like you can go back and watch a show and you're like, all of these people are terrible. Like what is going on here? Like we're currently rewatching Gilmore Girls and I'm like,
oh yeah, Gilmore Girls is a big one where I'm like, ooh, like Rory, you need to chill a lot.
Yeah. Lorelai, why are you running from your problems here? You have to communicate. What are we doing?
If they would just talk even a little, like any of the characters in Gilmore Girls were just to talk to each other,
so much better.
There would not be a show.
All right. What is one place in the world that you want to visit?
Italy.
Yeah.
I want to go to Italy so bad. I love Italian food and I need to have it from the source. I need to have it from the source.
All right. And the last question, if you were to have dinner with any Muppet, which one are you choosing?
Oh, Miss Piggy.
Miss Piggy.
Easy.
Okay.
Yeah. She'd take me out to somewhere nice, 5-star restaurant, valet. Like I just know it'd be a great experience.
All right. Okay. So I always ask for a match recommendation. So one you're a fan of that you think the listener should go check out. It could be any promotions, any wrestlers, any streaming service, but one that you're a fan that you think that they should go watch.
I think that everyone should go watch Jonathan Gresham versus Clancy. That was a great match.
Fancy
I
Ryan
forgot which
Clark.
promotion, but I just watched it on YouTube, I think. So if you just search it on YouTube, I'm sure you'll find it.
Nice. What do you have for upcoming shows? I know you mentioned this weekend, but what do you have going forward after this?
Yeah, so I have Naptown tomorrow, which will be fun. I'm in a 4 versus 4 tag match, so that'll be a lot of chaos, and I'm so excited for that. And then I have to look at my calendar. Please pause. I don't have my dates off the top of my head. And Sanctioned next weekend. I'm in a triple threat with Leela Hall and Jocelyn Navarro, so that'll be a good match. And then I'm at AIW the weekend after that, and I don't think they've announced my match, but I know who I'm wrestling, and I'm really, really excited for that too. So that'll be fun.
Maybe you can share off air so we can.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll tell you. When we
Okay. So everyone else has to wait for to be announced, but I'll get first dibs. Where can they find you on social media, or if you have anything else you'd like to plug? Here's an opportunity.
Yeah, so I'm at MJ Santana Pro on basically everything: Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And I just posted a blog from my last weekend, so go check that out on my Instagram. And I'm also on TikTok, but that's more of like, I don't know, like my random thoughts. So if you don't care to hear me yap, then don't follow me on TikTok. But everything else has all wrestling. So yeah.
Awesome. MJ, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks to MJ, and thank you for checking out the podcast. I say it every time. I always say it. I truly appreciate you taking time out of your day to listen to me talk wrestling. If it's your first time listening, you can find me on all social media at Grainmaker Wrestling Podcast, up on all podcast streaming platforms. And you can find me up on YouTube because this is going to be put up on YouTube. So, hey, why not? So thanks again for checking out the podcast. Go Knicks. Hopefully they win tonight, and we're going to celebrate a victory. We'll talk soon.
Yay!
Grainmaker.